Hello, you fine folks, and thanks for coming back to the channel. Today, we're taking a look at the very budget Eachine VR005 goggles. It's stated that the screen is 2.7 inches, charges via USB cable, which does come in the package. The button menu is very simple. We have power. This button on a short press will get you into the menu for changing the screen settings. A long press will get you into auto search. This changes your bands, this changes your channels. It does not come with a DVR, but it does come with 2 linear antennas. It's antenna diversity, not true diversity. It comes with 2 of these rubber pads, I'm not sure what they're for, a 3-position head strap, and an operation manual. These are on sale till July 8th for $29.99. It's hard to convey how small these goggles are, and I think the size means that for many people, it will be a backup set of goggles, or it'll be a ride-along set of goggles, or it'll be a set of goggles that will get you started. Say you win a quad from a review channel like this one, and you just are trying to get in for a budget. You're trying to see if this hobby is for you. This will get you by just fine. And as I'm going to show here in a minute, I record the screen outside. I have a towel that goes over this to try to black it out and get as good image quality as I can. Of course, it's still a camera's interpretation of the image. But I found that this one wasn't all that comfortable, but it wasn't terrible because of its weight. I found that it really felt like it needed more padding, like on the EV800Ds down here. There wasn't enough distance to come from my forehead where I wanted the screen down to my cheekbones, and so it kind of rested on the upper part of my cheekbones. So our faces are all different, so you might compare your face to my face that you've seen in other videos. I also found that my nose out here at the very edge did actually touch it a little bit. It didn't ride on it, but it was there, and this is relatively sharp, but you can put some foam around this. You'll probably want to do that anyways because that is a large cutout, and unless your nose fills that space, you're going to get some light leak through there. That may or may not bother you. That's something we talk about all the time in goggle reviews is light leak. But just about all of the goggles I've ever flown have some sort of light leak to start with, and then you make little changes in order to decrease that light leak. So I don't want to make a huge point of that, but it is there. You may want to use some felt or foam or something of that nature, something nice and comfortable, and just kind of adhere it to this area. You may also want to sand this edge down a little bit. Maybe not. It's all going to depend upon the size and shape of your nose. But because it's so light, riding on your cheekbones wasn't terribly uncomfortable. I've flown many other box goggles that were much more uncomfortable than this pair. Also, Drone Mesh did a teardown of that, and if I can, I'll link that down below in the video description, because what he did was he took it apart and he kind of made it a standalone screen. That may interest you for $30. A bench screen can be quite handy. Another bench screen that you might consider using would be something like this, which is kind of an FPV watch. This is the second or third or fourth iteration that we've seen of this. This particular one comes from Top Sky, and when you turn it on, it says Merry Christmas, because that's about when it came out. But I'll see what the price is of this. I think this is actually going to be about $10 to $15 more expensive than this, so that's something to keep in mind. But if this form factor doesn't fit you, this would be another good bench monitor to have for setup and testing purposes, or just sharing at the field with somebody as well. I did find that the auto lock did a pretty reasonable job when comparing to my rapid fire module. Sometimes it was off by a frequency or maybe as many as 10, which sounds like a lot, but really it's not. You'd pick up a pretty clear image on it still. You know, the rapid fire uses a frequency that it locks onto that's supposed to be the strongest, and then a near band. I believe that's how it's work, and then it can rotate back and forth between which is stronger as you're flying through your environment. But I thought with these antennas on here, what I'm about to show you, it works out pretty well. As you're looking at this, I would encourage you not to be too critical of what the view is that you see of this. Again, this is a camera's interpretation. The camera is not perfectly aligned. I'm not shooting in RAW or anything like that and doing some sort of color correction compared to what I see. This is just me trying to give you an idea of what the signal's like in my environment, and we do go into the neighbor's yard just to make it a little bit tougher on the goggles right here, and you'll find that it does relatively well. It's not a thorough test. This isn't a Joshua Bardwell science test. I'm just kind of cruising around trying to simulate different flying environments other than my own while being in the neighbor's backyard. You may want to go back and watch that a little bit more, but I thought with these antennas, it's pretty reasonable. You know, I've flown much worse. Our receivers keep getting better and better, and it seems like these manufacturers, these budget goggles, continue to find receivers that work a little bit better, because I cut my teeth in FPV on much poorer reception than this. That's for certain. You know, 3 years ago, our reception just in my little area getting this clear was sometimes a challenge. I am flying a quad that has a linear or whip antenna on it, so that is something to note as far as the signal and reception goes of the video that I am showing you. Also, if you notice that I'm a little bit off in my flying, some of you that follow my Facebook posts know that my poor X-Lite has kind of given up the ghost. I'm still working on it, trying to repair it. I've been spending a lot of time on that. It just won't boot up. It gets stuck on the welcome screen. It doesn't play any sounds. It doesn't finish booting up. I've taken out the battery. I've tried to reformat, flash. I've tried all sorts of different things I can find online, and a number of suggestions that came from you people on the Facebook posts. And I really appreciate you guys trying to help me out, because I'm flying a box style radio here, and I really felt awkward. It was like I was wearing two left shoes or something. It felt so different. Our radios are so important to getting that flight feel that we're used to and having the stick movements. I'm flying the Jumper T8SG, and I found the sticks were stiffer than I wanted, and my hands weren't quite in the right position, but I'm making much out of really nothing. This flying isn't about the radio, it's about the reception of these VR005 goggles. But as you can see, we do fairly well, and I'm pretty happy with that. Never mind that Tomoquad CSX. I've been testing motors. Those motors went away. I didn't stay with those, although I did like how they flew. It just didn't give me the flight time I wanted. As I stated initially, I think this is just for getting started. It's for a backup set, or it's for sharing at the field or something of that nature. It's only $29.99. It's on sale until the 9th of July. If you're looking for a backup set, if you're looking for something that I've previously mentioned, I think it's a reasonable box goggle to buy. I don't think it's something that I would encourage anyone to start with unless you couldn't afford anything better. I would again encourage you, if you're getting started, to use the EV800Ds. It's got a DVR. It's a better setup. It's more versatile. It disconnects from the back half of the visor of the goggles so that you can use the front half like a bench screen. So if you're building or testing, you can use that. So it's a much more versatile goggle, but it is more than double the price of these. I think it comes in around $80 or $90 for the EV800Ds. I'll put links to the watch that I showed you previously, the EV800Ds, and also, again, I hate to beat you up, but this is on sale for just $29 right now. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or otherwise, please let me know in that section down below. I appreciate your time, and thank you for watching.